prepared Mexican foods, a terrific fresh fruit and juice bar, and a large selection of meats, seafoods, and deli sandwiches, salads, and halal meats. Their produce department is stocked full with fresh, local, and hard-to-find international fruits and vegetables that you cannot find anywhere else. Don't forget to stop into the massive Beer Cave and experience the largest selection of domestic, artisan, and imported beers in the IE. They can also cater your next event with one of their delicious takeout catering trays of food. Visit them at RedlandsRanchMarket.com. That's RedlandsRanchMarket.com. Redlands Ranch Market, a unique and fun shopping destination.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside would like to thank all the local men and women in our armed forces who risk their lives daily to preserve our freedom and way of life. God bless America. This reminder courtesy of Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside. They're the professionals serving the area with quality, integrity, and dependability. For service or an estimate, call Zambrano Plumbing at 909-772-9939.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be
But I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can
okay, come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome, you're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using a hip balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on CNBC News, NBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Life, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why? Because I want to balance out all the bad news out there that is so readily available with some good news and good people. So I have topics and guests and special series to that end. If you've missed any of my 1,092 but who's counting shows, podcast shows, over the last 611 consecutive weeks, please do free subscribe to my YouTube channel, where not only will you get an alert in the morning when I'm on every weekday morning, also you will get a chance to chat in my cashew gallery and ask questions if you have them, and say hello to my co-hosts when I have them. And today I do have my favorite Wednesday co-host. Her name is Dr. Tiffany Tate. She's a U.S. Navy veteran, published author, and retired OBGYN from Compton, California. She's a playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and more. She's the published author of several books, including an important children's book called Bad Touching. It is the favorite one of the ones that she does, and for that, I gave her Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet. Please welcome back to the studio, Dr.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it was a pleasure to have you. And let's just go ahead and start with our breakfast. Taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. 8 things that you are grateful for on the top of the bun, and then 8 things that you appreciate about yourself on the bottom of the bun. And we do this every morning show so that we can anchor your positive start to the day. Dr. Tiffany, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for the blessing of another day because a lot of people did not wake up this morning, and I was one of the people who did.
Yes, absolutely. I am grateful that I am almost readjusted from coming from the land down under to returning to the land back over, up and over. And it is good to be home and grateful to live in Southern California.
I am grateful for the support of family and friends.
I am grateful that I got recognized in Australia and New Zealand, which is a shocker, halfway around the world. And in Australia, it was for my interviews with Halle Berry and John Travolta, thanks YouTube channel. And in New Zealand, it was a weird one where I saw someone. Did I tell you this story already?
You mentioned it, but it's always good to be grateful for it. Say it again. Say it as many times as it's always good to be doubly grateful for it.
Thank you. You're such a gracious co-host. I got lost trying to get to my electric bike city tour and asked this couple walking by if where the place I was supposed to go, and they said, "Oh, the bridge is closed. You have to go around. Come walk with us. We're going that way." And why are you in New Zealand? I'm a book tour. What's your name? Dr. Marissa. And she stopped and looked at me and she says, "I know you." So apparently her life coach is the #1 coach in New Zealand. I don't know her, but she knows me and refers me to all of her clients as a source of positive news. So that blew my socks off. That's going to blow my socks off for a while. So that's going to fill up my gratitude for a long time. What else are you grateful for?
I am grateful because I'm a member of the Riverside Seroptimus organization, and I was selected to be on the human trafficking panel with Assemblywoman Eloise Gomez. And I was able to talk about my book, Bad Touching, and I was recognized and I received a certificate of appreciation for Human Trafficking Day. And I was able to speak about human trafficking and about my book, Bad Touching, and how it actually changes lives and it helps people and children report about their abuse, whether they be children or adults. After they read my book, they actually reminisce and are able to talk about their own trauma, and it helps heal people, whether they be male, female. It crosses ages, it crosses genders, and it's a healing book.
That's super duper fabulous. I'm getting it more love here. Your sorority sister is in the Cashew Gallery. You're the president today of the gallery and get to monitor and welcome people since you're the first to pop in. I am grateful that I get to do this. The show is a privilege and an honor to, going on, almost 12 years. So I am grateful for that. All right, let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is, what do you like about yourself? So a lot of us, thanks to my honorable moniker, Oprah, bringing the whole focus on mental health, and it is doctors in the house today. So you have an MD and a PhD here, and it is great that we are now looking at mental health. The one thing that I just pause is the second or the first reaction is okay, I can talk about my dis-ease with life or how I don't feel healthy mentally. But for many, the second action is to reach for something to not feel bad. And that action sort of delays the processing of what you need to process on your own. And one of the biggest reasons why we don't feel good is because we've got this critic going in our head and we don't like ourselves. We're not able to see ourselves for the fabulous 88% person that we are. Um, One of a kind, wonderful. Instead, we see all those things that are not good. So this discipline is to anchor you in um, putting to the forefront what you do like about yourself. Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone else to? So that's why we do the bottom of the bottom. Dr. Tiffany, what do you like about yourself?
I like that I can bust out in any Disney song from any Disney movie at any Disney time.
Little Mermaid.
A whole new world. No, that's not Disney. A Little Mermaid. Oh,
That yeah.
Okay, wait, too much pressure. Under the sea, under the sea, darling is better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the land they learn to cook. Under the sea, we're off the hook. Darling is better down where it's wetter. Under the sea.
Yay! Wait. Where's my thing? I'm usually the one breaking out in song, so that was delightful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I also um, write music. Singer songwriter is one of the things that I'm so grateful that I get to do, and thinking about starting to do that again. And that's a new, another little turn in the life. I actually was supposed to do that. I don't know if I told you that story. Maybe not. But I got scouted by to put a demo tape together by the managers of Sade.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, well, maybe I should. Because I'd been performing at piano bars, and singing and original music, and my dad found out. Flew down from Toronto. He's a professor when he was alive, and he said, "Darling, you're good, but you're not that good of a singer. There's a lot of people who are as good as you and will die to sing. You're not dying to sing. You've always wanted to be a professor because he was a professor. So why don't you do that first? You can always come back to music." So that's what I did, and I don't regret it. I do think about it sometimes, and Don Most, my repeat guest, fabulous, not Ralph Mouth. Was he Ralph Mouth? No, he was, yeah, Ralph Mouth, not Potsy. I get those two mixed up. He was Ralph Mouth on Happy Days, and he went back to music himself. Acting was not his first love. So he's being inspiring. So I appreciate my ability to re-jump the battery of my singing. Your turn. What do you like about yourself?
I like the fact that I can sing opera.
Okay.
And my life is a song. I consider my life a musical. And my children probably don't like it because when they were growing up and we would be shopping in the supermarket, I would just burst out into song. And they would be like, okay, mom, calm down. Or if we were in a restaurant, I would just burst out into song. And they'd be like, okay, mom, calm down. And I probably still do that. And they're like, okay, mom, calm down. But it's what I do. And I just love it. And so I consider my life a musical. It is entertaining to me. And what do we do? I think, what is that movie? Am I not entertained? And I just try to entertain myself. It's just me and the dog. So,
Yeah, I remember at Christmas time when we were doing our holiday sing along, and your kids mentioned that
yes.
specific thing. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Okay, last thing that we like about ourselves, I love that I can always improve. That I know that there's no there there. That I've stopped trying to be a perfectionist, perfect. I'm not, never will be, and that I gave that up as a goal so that I can be happier at 88%. Fabulous. 12% of the time I step in it, but most of the time I'm cool. Last one. Oh no, wait a minute. I asked you to start, so you're done. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, despite the fact that I am a physician, I think concretely a lot and I can see things as very black and white. I don't take my life very seriously. I don't take myself too seriously all the time. I like to play games. I even play Pokemon Go. So don't roll your eyes at me.
Oh,
That's judgy.
I didn't know that. I didn't judge you. I didn't judge you. I'm just surprised. Hey, I used to play Candy Crush, but when I crushed like over 10,000, I, this is ridiculous.
I don't play it regularly, but I play it sporadically, and I have my Pokemon Go app on my phone, and I play it in different countries and things like that. And I spend my Pokestops, and I join raids. Yeah, I do that. I'm telling on myself. It's what I do.
All right. All right. And that is it for taking a bite of your which in our discipline first thing in the morning, having breakfast with myself on Doctors in the House with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffany Tate.
promise you if you do this for 28 consecutive days, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. And now it is time for the topic of today. Dr. Tiffany, what did you decide we are going to dissect on the air today on camera?
Okay, so today's topic is an interesting one. I wanted to discuss buyer beware. A lot of times it's something that we all do. We all shop. We all buy things, whether it is in retail stores, whether we buy a car, whether we buy a house, whether we buy vacation packages. But there's always fine print that we may or may not know about. And I came across this topic because I have had issues and I was at a party and I heard another person complaining, and I was like, okay, they have had issues too. So I was like, and another person had issues, and I was like, this might be a good topic to discuss because if three of us have had issues, I'm sure we can extrapolate and discuss it. Now, buyer beware, it's just something that everybody don't we don't necessarily read our receipts. Some of us just ball it up and stick it in our pocket, crumple it up and throw it in the trash, or just toss it in our purse, or say, oh, just throw it in the bag. But we don't pay attention to return policies. We don't even pay attention to the insurance that we buy when we buy our vacation packages. But we really should because things come up and we might want to actually use it. And when we try to use it or we try to return it, a lot of times we can't. So that's why I wanted to talk about buyer beware, especially since I'm in the market for potentially buying a car and buying a house. and I have come up with some issues. So, again, buyer beware.
Awesome. Now, you know how I like to qualify the first half of the show. So if you're eyeballing and coming into the studio and you have bought something that falls in the category that Dr. Tiffany's talking about, please do put it in the chat. I will also, the question is, have you ever bought something that you regret, or you had a difficult time, or you didn't get what you thought you were going to get? I'm not talking about marriage. I am talking about material things at this point. And my biggest, I've forgotten about it because I try not to think about things that I don't feel good when I think about them. But I did fall into that trap of buying a timeshare. And, you know, it sounded good at the time, and their presentations are pretty cool. And look at this, you're going to have this for the rest of your, you know, give it to your children when you die. You always have a place, blah, 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 blah. Look what you get. But I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And then to try to, as they say, you can sell it. To try to sell it, that's like a bogus thing. And then you get shocked by people who say, we'll help you sell for a certain time. You're the same thing that you really wanted. Because now, because it's lost value, you're passing on debt to your children. So you really want to get rid of it. And I can remember thinking, what the heck? You've got an industry that sort of takes advantage of you to buy it, and then an industry that takes advantage of you to sell it. Like, what the fork is going on here? So that's my story. Did you ever buy a timeshare?
Yes, but I have a Disney timeshare and I actually love it.
Oh, okay.
And it actually has equity in it, and you can gift it, but it's a little bit different. Now, when I did some research, depending on what it is you buy, whether you buy clothes and different things like that, I looked it up and it said a recent consumer report indicates that about 60% of online shoppers have experienced regret after making a purchase. And in fact, about there's buyer's remorse. It's at an all-time high presently because there's such an easy way for people to shop, because people can buy on their phone, they can buy on their computer, they can even buy on their watches nowadays. So it's such an easy way to just, it's like clickbait. And according to New York Times, in the past year, there's a significant increase in buyer's remorse. And it's really hard for people to return things. And it's really hard for you to dispute purchases. And there's really hard for different chargebacks. So if you look at your receipt, depending on what stores you buy it at, some stores won't even take it back. Some stores have even changed their policies and won't even take it back within a certain time frame. They've shortened their time frame. And if you purchased it on sale, they flat out won't take it back.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So they'll say, oh, a sale means final sale, even though it doesn't say final sale. And I was surprised at a certain store, a certain major store. I won't even mention their name because, you know, I'm going to leave it nameless, but a major store has changed their policy. So even if you buy something on sale, they will not take it back. So make sure you read your receipts, because this is a retail store, a high-end retail store. So if you buy anything on sale, they will not take it back, even if it's within 30 days.
Interesting. Yeah, I ask. I've learned the hard way myself, and I'll ask, is it possible to return this if it's on sale now? But I learned the hard way. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and especially after you've done Christmas shopping, so you've bought gifts for people and it doesn't fit. Now you have to donate it.
Yeah. That is, yeah. I know customer service is, another topic related. It's the cousin to this, but I have said, go ahead.
I was gonna say customer service is non-existent for the most part.
It's an oxymoron these days. I swear, if I could start a new parallel life, I would be looking for investors to start a company that crosses all fields called live, whatever, live dry cleaning, live mental health, live auto mechanic, live whatever, which means you're not going to get a machine. You don't have to listen to all the options before you press the number. You actually get a live person who's nice, who you can understand, and they have the power to resolve whatever your issue is. So you would have to pay a little more, but that is the promise of all of the kinds of company, products and services under that live now, or, live well or whatever. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't you pay a little more knowing that you wouldn't have to? I try not to get irritated. That's one of my pet peeves I like to take for a walk, is when I get that machine. And now it's even worse because of the AI, which is not that smart. And if you get, if they don't understand you, you have to repeat it. And oh my gosh. And so I start hitting the asterisk and the pound sign trying to get a live person. And now, I won't mention the company, they'll say, we're not understanding you. Please go to the website. And then they hang up on you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like
you get in a circle.
Yeah, it's really, really annoying. But anyways, let's see. We don't have anybody else's story on buyer beware. But let's, when you were talking about it, one of the things that people are unhappy about is focusing on all the ways, layoffs.
I'll tell you a travel story that was an issue. One person, when I was at the party, she bought a ticket to go to Israel. She bought travel insurance to go to Israel. And this is from a highly reputable company. And then I'll tell you my personal story. And of course, a war broke out. And they canceled her trip. And she said, okay, do I get a refund? She activated her insurance. And the company said, no, war was foreseeable. That's her look. That's
really?
I'm like, how can war be foreseeable?
That's ridiculous.
That my point exactly. So a couple years passed, or at least a year and a half has passed. They said, okay, we won't give you your money back. We'll give you credit to go on another trip. And she's like, well, I don't want credit to go on another trip. I just want my money back, because that's what the insurance says. And it's like in small fine print, that's why I said you have to read these policies instead of just signing up. Buyer beware. I think there was a clause somewhere in there that they can, like in case of war or something like that, they don't have to give her money. And so now she's just going to gift the credit to her daughters, so that her daughters and her can go on a trip or take a trip somewhere, because she's like, she doesn't want to take any more trips anywhere else. But I think that is appalling that they refuse to give her money back.
That is ridiculous. I've never heard of that. Although I do know that whenever you buy stuff online and they offer you insurance and they say, are you sure you don't want to have that insurance? That is the fine print too. I have yet.
She works in a reputable business.
Yeah, I have yet to meet a travel insurance that actually will pay out for canceled for any reason. It's like there's if it's medical, it has to have this parameter and this parameter. So I don't even bother with that because I know that it's not going to cover whatever I'm doing. So yeah, so there is definitely, and you've got this is related to check. I never used to check my, like you said, receipts from my purse or check the even credit card statements because I just assume or think that I trust maybe a little naively, but with all of the instances of um, what do they call them? People who try to steal your money online. What do you? There's a word for that. With all the fake whatever.
Cyber thieves.
Cyber thieves. Thank you. I knew there was a term for that. You have to check your statements.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Now, with my instance of travel, last year, you had interviewed me for my birthday. Last year, when I went to the Maldives, and I was supposed to go from Maldives to Seychelles. It was supposed to be like a double part vacation. And the travel agent had set up everything. So I am trusting my travel agent to set up everything. I also bought travel insurance. I purchased everything. And I'm believing that my travel agent has counseled me appropriately and told me everything I need to do. And when they told me I needed to get the visas, I got my visas for Maldives and I got my visas for Seychelles. And when they purchased my flights, I was flying through India. I had a layover in India instead of flying straight through. My luggage was going through India. I just had to stop in India, just a layover. I wasn't staying in India. I wasn't spending the night in India.
mhm.
So it was just a change of planes in India. They would not let me on my flight to go to Seychelles. They
Why?
told, they told me I needed, and I was only going to be in Seychelles for about 4 days. They told me I needed a visa to go through India for my luggage. And they said it would take 48 hours for a visa in India, but I can spend $1,000 to get it expedited.
Expedite this.
Yeah. So it was a money grab. And so they were like, I said, but I'm not staying in India. My luggage is just going through India. And they said, yeah, but you need a visa for your luggage to go through India. I said, well, why wouldn't my travel agent tell me that a long time ago when they arranged it? They told me I needed one for the Maldives. They told me I needed one for Seychelles. They didn't mention anything about it because I would have did it and I would have paid for it. And I mean, but now I'm not about to pay $1,000 for my luggage to fly through a country.
Well, I'm sure that you weren't the first one that was, asked or invited that way.
Yeah. And so I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just activate my insurance and come home. So then they said, well, you can't activate your insurance and cancel. You'll have to buy a new flight to come back home.
Oh my,
With yes. So they said you'll have to buy a new flight to come back home. I am still fighting with them to get my reimbursement. They keep saying, yes, they keep saying, we're going to reimburse you. We're going to reimburse you. We're going to reimburse you. But they still have yet to reimburse me from August.
no way. This is recent then.
Yes, this is just from last year.
Wow.
And and this is a reputable company. reputable insurance, and they still have not reimbursed me.
That's not good.
No.
Definitely.
And so these are all companies that this is a different company than she used, but her company is very reputable. My company is very reputable. These are highly reputable companies that should not be treating their customers this way.
Do you
And
think it's because of COVID?
no, because COVID is much better now. I think this post-COVID climate allows them to treat people poorly.
You think?
I think so. I think they believe that they don't have to do what they were doing before.
Well, I was actually thinking because of the pressure of the loss from COVID, they're cutting corners or doing, like illogical things. That's what I meant by COVID.
Possibly because it doesn't make sense for them to behave the way that they behave. And I don't understand why they do what they do. Because I'm affiliated with a company that treated that woman that way. I have a membership with that company. You probably have a membership with that company too. Lots of people have a membership with that company. Um, and so it doesn't make sense that some of the things that are happening. And I just think buyers really need to be aware and read everything when they're purchasing things.
We have an agreement here. Dre Scott says yes. So it sounds like it's not happening to just one person. There is it's a it's an interesting thing. Commerce is the bigger topic around here, and economy and how you would hope that companies that treat people well are the ones that make the money and do well, and that whole philanthropy thing that's in Tom's and those companies, Ben and Jerry's, who actively put their business and commerce with doing good and hopefully treating customers good. It's almost like a third category. Just because you're doing philanthropy also doesn't mean that you're treating your people right. So it's interesting how that rule that doesn't always hold, that the best companies, there's one I want to talk about, but again, I'm reticent to say it's a big company. In fact, you have already done something to highlight that company earlier on in the show. And apparently they don't treat their people that well inside. And you would think because of their, reputation and the kinds of products they do, that they would. So, there would be, wouldn't it be great if there was some kind of a directory of, because I've thought this so many times, when I'm poorly treated, there doesn't seem to be a repository of people's bad experiences. So BBB is supposed to do that, but apparently even they can be bought. So that just because you would have an A+ on the Better Business Bureau doesn't mean necessarily that it is a good company. But I guess for me, I used to do this on the show, which is highlight good experiences. I don't talk about the bad experiences. I don't highlight or say the name of it. But when I have a good experience with a company or an airline or whatever it is, then I actually say it out loud using this platform and others and social media to say, isn't that great? But then we got into this whole stupid influencers thing where you're paid to say nice things about certain without, and that's why I don't do it, is I will not endorse unless I actually have experienced it, which limits my income as an influencer. But, I believe that my word is, I have to be as honest as possible with my experiences. And then there's the whole thing, not 100% people have a good experience with me. So 88% of the time, I'm a good experience. 12% of the time, I'm not. And my book, I've got a 4.3 out of 5 on Amazon. I was a #1 Amazon bestseller. But then you go to, I just saw it the other day. Someone was looking me up. Abe Books, and I'm like a 3 point something because one person gave me a 1 because they were pissed at me for some reason, and that pulled the whole thing down. So then that's the reality of rating systems too. So it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't, or it's like a gray area. Another example is when people do stupid things on the road. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was a website that had all the cars to see if there's a car in common that was cutting off, multiple people, and then we could identify that and give it to the police. And someone said, well, if you have been like if someone cheated on you, you would put their car's information to get a back at them, and it isn't really about driving. So it is an interesting issue.
Well, speaking of driving, even when looking for a car, I have noticed because I have been in the car market to replace my vehicle because I drive a 2008. Um, well, we have a comment.
Yeah.
This is such a good topic because the oversaturation of products needs to be vetted by integral and component influencers. That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Top of Tiffany. That was a plus for you. She picked this. I don't get it.
But even when looking for a car, I have been to 4 different dealerships of the same type of car because I'm looking for a specific type of car. I told them what I want. I was very specific because I'm looking for an electric vehicle. I already have a gas vehicle and I want to keep my car. So I wanted an electric vehicle. I told them exactly what I wanted. And they still didn't want to listen to me. I'm not sure if it's because I'm female or what, but there were no females there, and I don't mind working with a male person, but I do want them to listen to me. I'm telling them exactly what I want. I didn't walk in and saying, "Oh, I'm Dr. Such and Such." I'm just like, "Hey, I'm a car shopper, and this is what I want." They tried to give me what they wanted to give me. I'm like, I don't mind ordering it. I don't mind waiting 3 to 6 months. I have a vehicle. I know exactly what I want. And I know the color, I know the inside. They're trying to give me a tan inside. I don't want a tan inside. I see my kids getting in. I see food spilled. I see all this other stuff. I want a dark outside. I want it green. I want it dark inside. And they're trying to give me everything else. But they don't want to listen to me. They're trying to sell what they have on the market. I'm giving you a sale, but they don't want to listen to me. And the customer service isn't there. I don't know if they want to try to move what they have, but if they want to order it or if they want to look within the United States and have it shipped to their place, they will have a sale.
Yeah, it's common sense is uncommon is one of my, I'm known for that line. Um, it doesn't make sense, but logic is illogical, and we're human beings, and for whatever reason, I do know that giving people the benefit of the doubt the first time has worked for me. Otherwise, I begin to attract all of that kind of interaction more and more and more. And if you're a person who is to the point where they're saying, I can't believe that just happened. If you have said that and then something else happens and you say it again, and then you call someone and tell them what had happened, you're going to continue to attract at that level. So that is the part that we can control, which is when shift happens or shiitake happens, I've found the most important thing I need to do is say, I can't wait to see what good happens from this, or I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. And that stops the pattern. So when to hold, when to fold, But it is important to share, as Dre was saying, uh, our experiences. And those of us in advertising and marketing and have that kind of experience, it has shifted where we actually listen more to what people are saying about it. Because I don't know about you, I pay attention to those stars on Amazon. And now I actually pay attention to this number of stars. So you can have a 5.0 rating, that's one person who gave you a 5. But if there's 1,200 and it's a 4.3 or whatever, that's pretty darn good because you've now got, the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But, to talk more about our experiences, giving people the benefit of the doubt, if it's one bad thing, then maybe, we don't have to say it out loud. But if there begins to be a pattern, then yeah, we should be expressing that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That we just need more people to listen. And then on the house front, as I went looking for houses, there was a house with a well, beautiful property, 4.5 acres, fabulous, beautiful estate. But buyer beware. What all encompasses a house with a well? Have you ever lived with a house with a well?
No, I get my water from a
Me too. Me too. When
tap.
you have a house with a well, there's well maintenance. I have a house with a septic tank, and there's septic tank maintenance, and there's a whole lot that goes with that, and having it pumped every now and then because it's a nice sized property. So I looked up what all is required for a house with a well, and I realized that is not where I want to live. Buyer
Well, then.
when you start thinking about these things, you have to look up these things. And
Mhm.
it says you have to do well maintenance, and sometimes the water can taste like sulfur, and the the
Ooh,
it can
that's
leave.
a smell too. That's
Yeah,
not just taste, that's a smell.
yeah, you can get spots on your clothes, spots on your dishes, and these are just things that you have to think about. And the house has been on the market for a long time. And I
Mhm,
was trying to figure out why.
mhm,
Because it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has a pool house, um, a guest house. It is magnificent property.
mhm.
And I think it's the well.
Yeah,
I do. Buyer beware.
yeah.
So what always looks good is not good for you.
Honey, when you're dating, you discover that.
That too. That too. Haven't
Let's
done
just
a lot of that.
let's just go there, okay? If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in studio today, this is Take My Advice. I'm not using a gift balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and it's Wednesday. So we have our very special series called Doctors in the House with Dr. Marissa
Dr. Tiffany Tate.
and we're talking about buyer beware. And we've got another comment here. And after the comment, I'm going to give away a pair of tickets to Engelbert Humperdinck. So stay tuned to that. Dre Scott says, turn it into a positive is good for us. When I experience bad customer service, I intentionally give the best in turn to those who I service. Complaints are only good when it affects change. Very well said, especially since I run the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa, and it is the 24th. So that means, did you manage on New Year's Day to begin the fast and get through with 21 consecutive days of not complaining? If so, please contact me and I will be giving you a certificate. If you officially registered and did it, I will give you double your $21 back because it is over. You don't have to wait till next first of the year. You can do it anytime and just go to drmarissa.life to sign up and register. All proceeds go to my 501c 8 Ways to Happiness. And I am now going to share with you who, and this is probably Dr. Tiffany may be my date. I'm definitely going. I've seen him before. He's incredible. Engelbert Humperdinck, The Last Waltz World Tour. It sounds like it is his last tour. I looked this up and I already forgot how old he is. Engelbert age, because nobody is 87. 87. He is still. Last concert I saw him, he was really good, which I think he was like 85. So the first two people, or sorry, the first person to go to drmarissa.life will get a pair of tickets to Engelbert Humperdinck. And he's on the world tour. Let's give him a little love. He's a career spanning 50 years, generated sales in excess of 140 million records, including 64 gold and 35 platinum, 4 Grammy nominations, Golden Globe, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Las Vegas Walk of Fame, and Lancaster. I guess that's in England. So that is February the 10th. These tickets are worth anywhere from $58 to $108. So go to drmarissa.life and you will get that free Asian Oprah giveaway ticket. So that is my gift today. They are one of the longtime show sponsors. And so I am happy to give those tickets away. Thank you, Dana, who is fabulous. He is the producer and director of the Where Music Meets the Soul productions that puts on things all over, including the Savant Theater. All right. Are you free that day? Do you want to go there?
Okay, let me check.
Vegas, yeah. So you take a look at that. Any other things? You get a final word. We're almost at 5 minutes for the topic that we've been dissecting today, which is buyer beware. Final word?
Final word is don't be afraid to shop, but always know that you should read your receipt, know what it is that you're buying, and don't be afraid to return it. Buyer's remorse is basically a psychological response that is when you feel that you've made an incorrect or an unwise purchase. And it's okay, it's a choice that you've made. But if you feel remorseful, hopefully you didn't buy something that you cannot return. If you need to return it, hopefully you can. If you can't, hopefully you can gift it to someone else or you can sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Great. Don't beat yourself up. I think we've all done this. And I think that the response of I can't wait to see what good comes out of this, everything happens for my and your divine good. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it for you. So even when that happens, I'm always looking for the silver lining. More will be revealed. Maybe someone else needed it more. Whatever that is, I do that not because I'm naive. I do that because it makes me feel better. Because if I continue to complain about something like that, I will not feel good. And I absolutely want to feel as best as I possibly can in this thing called life. That's my final on this topic. We actually have a little more time. We're both single, and I did make that funny remark about buyer beware or remorse when it comes to dating. So I've actually started dating again, Dr. Tiffany. I don't know if I told you that, but we're both happily divorced now. And it took me like I haven't had a relationship in what, 7 years, 6 months, 5 weeks, 4 days, 3 hours, but who's counting? And I recently, well, when I was in Australia, when I sold out of the books, I had some time on my hands. So my a friend of mine who actually found me on social media, Ranella, is heck bent on me getting married because she met her guy on Tinder and she's happily married, blah, blah, blah. And so I downloaded Bumble. Don't judge. But it was kind of funny because I haven't done this in a long time. And talk about buyer beware. There's no such thing as people looking. There's a vast difference between how you look in a picture and how you look in person. It just really, it's just like another dimension. So my suggestion for everybody who is doing that is don't fall in love with the picture. Get the video chat as quickly as possible. And then that way you get a sense of that person before you invest the time to meet somewhere. That's my happy 88 tip for anyone who is dating. It is no longer, thank God, the stigma, and I still have some holier than thou people. I would never use an app. And you're right, it is superficial. It is definitely, based on looks, which is not the best criteria. But I am attracted like a guy. I look first and listen later, and I just know myself on that. So that's, if you know yourself, but you got to read the profile. You got to know what you like and don't like. I know I can't have an atheist or an agnostic